The change Novak Djokovic said he'd be happy for tennis to make, which shocked Coco Gauff. Novak Djokovic has always been an advocate for change so long as it progresses his sport. As one of, if not the greatest tennis players of all time, his voice carries weight. Fortunately, he is well aware of that clout and he uses his supreme stature to promote the sport whenever he can. However, as is often the case with change, it might come across as strange initially. That is exactly the kind of response one proposition from Djokovic received earlier this year. How Coco Gauff reacted to Novak Djokovic's big tennis suggestion. Reacting to Danielle Collins' response to hecklers at the Australian Open, the Serbian admitted, "I loved it." However, he built on her controversial reaction, which unsettled some of the sport's more conservative fans, by making a suggestion of his own to further provoke them. Well, that was perhaps not his intention, but it certainly would have been the outcome, as he noted. At the same time, I think we have been a little bit behind the other sports with changes and trying to keep the pace with the evolution of society and the new generation that we all know doesn't have that much of a great attention span. For example, why wouldn't we consider doing something between the sets like the Super Bowl or, I don't know, the NBA, right? When there is a timeout, they have dancers come in and this and that. I wouldn't have problem with that. I feel like it would bring more of a fun element and entertainment to tennis that we know has been quite traditional and maybe conservative in some things. So I'm up for it, just like maybe gradual changes. Dancers first. Coco Gauff, reacting to this claim, added, "I mean, it's only a minute of the changeover, so I mean it's a great suggestion if we had like a real halftime like those sports do," Gauff began. "But I think the issue is that we only have a minute, which I honestly think that our changeover should be a little bit longer here because by the time you walk to your seat it's only 45 seconds, so, but that's another thing. But yeah, I mean, I guess it depends how long you want the show to go on. Hire some street dancers, they do a little quick 90-second routine or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, that's definitely an interesting thought. I was not expecting that from Novak. I didn't see it." Novak Djokovic has always been keen for tennis to move with the times. As noted earlier, Djokovic's willingness to move with the times is admirable. After all, at 38 years of age, he would be forgiven for wanting to remain in a bygone era where he was the dominant force. Nowadays he is sadly far from it, having been usurped by Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner in recent years. Speaking just last month, Djokovic even noted, "Tennis has been a sport of elites, has that kind of foundation, good because we have a heritage and tradition and history that we're proud of, and it's a very global sport. But it has so much potential that isn't used, and that is on the bad side because the innovation is obstructed, it's sabotaged because you have to behave a certain way that we've gotten used to seeing people talk or play." Fortunately, he sees a brighter future and wants to remain a part of it. He added, "I feel like tennis is a sport that can be greatly transformed and I want to be part of that change, not just part of their change, but I want to be playing when we kind of rejuvenate our sport and set the new platform that is going to go on for decades to come." When Coco Gauff walked into the Players' Lounge at the Monte Carlo Masters exhibition event, she expected the usual, mellow music, quiet chatter, the soft clattering of rackets being restrung, and the cozy, slightly chaotic charm of players trying to look relaxed while calculating their next practice block. What she did not expect was Novak Djokovic standing in the middle of the room like a professor unveiling a new scientific theory, surrounded by an engrossed crowd of players, coaches, and two extremely stressed ATP officials. "And I'm telling you," Novak said, gesturing with a banana like it were a laser pointer, "this would change tennis for the better." Coco blinked. Bananas. Novak. Enthusiasm. She smelled trouble. She edged closer. "What's going on?" Grigor Dimitrov leaned toward her conspiratorially. "Novak's proposing a rule change." Coco raised an eyebrow. "What kind of rule change?" Before Grigor could answer, Novak spotted her. "Ah, Coco. Perfect timing," he said with the gleeful energy of someone about to detonate a pleasant little bomb. "I need your support." Coco's eyes widened. Support for what?" Novak took a dramatic breath, as if preparing to reveal universal truth. "I think tennis should allow," he said, pausing for suspense, "one mid-match coaching timeout where the player can call in any retired legend of their choice to give them advice for 3 minutes. What? On court. With microphones." The room buzzed. Someone choked on their electrolyte drink. Coco stared at him. Her brain rebooted. Then again. And again. Wait, she finally managed. Like, I could be losing a match and suddenly call Serena Williams onto the court to coach me for 3 minutes. Yes. Novak said, delighted. Exactly. Imagine the drama. Coco's mouth fell open. Serena would walk out with sunglasses and a speech like she's entering a movie scene. Exactly, Novak repeated, nodding like a proud inventor. And imagine you call Federer or Rafa calls Sampras or I call Agassi. You would call Agassi, Gregor muttered. Of course you would. Novak ignored him. This would revolutionize the sport. Fans would love it. Broadcasters would faint from happiness. And players, he placed a hand on his chest, players would rise to new levels. Coco lifted her hands slowly. Novak, that would be absolute madness. Beautiful madness, Novak corrected. Do you realize what you're suggesting? Coco said, half stunned, half amused. You want a legend hotline in the middle of a professional tennis match? Novak lit up even further. Yes, exactly. A hotline. That's the word. Coco sank onto a couch. This would break the world. And then the imagination started. Because her brain was now fully awake, Coco couldn't help picturing it. She imagined the US Open. Arthur Ashe Stadium. Lights. Noise. Pressure. She imagined herself down 4-6, 2-5. She imagined pressing a giant red button on the court. A siren would blare. The big screen would flash. Coaching timeout. Legend mode activated. Fans would scream like it was a WWE spectacle. And then Serena Williams would march through the tunnel with the confidence of a queen returning to reclaim her throne. Serena, get up. Fix your feet. And stop letting her boss the baseline. You're Coco Gauff. That's your job. Coco actually grinned at her own daydream. Yes, okay, maybe Novak was onto something. But then she imagined someone else pressing the button. Azarenka calling Steffi Graf. Murray calling Andy Roddick. Swiatek calling Justine Henin. Sabalenka calling, oh no, Maria Sharapova. The drama alone would end human civilization. This would be absolute chaos, Novak, Coco said. Good chaos, he insisted. The press conference explosion. Naturally, word of Novak's idea leaked within an hour. Reporters flooded the hallway. Social media detonated like someone had tossed a match into a fireworks warehouse. By the time Novak reached his press conference, there were 3 times the usual number of journalists. Someone had even brought popcorn.